Right, now we're going to look at a couple of other sites that show lunar and midwinter orientations and possible star orientations as well, just as a kind of introduction before we get to Stonehenge. These are Newgrange in County Meath in Ireland and Callanish, which is in the Outer Hebrides on the Isle of Lewis. This is Newgrange here. It is a large passage grave, dates to sort of about 3000 BC, and it was a communal burial place. As you can see from this photo, it's actually pointing towards, this is more or less looking north, is at the top. You can see that it's oriented towards the southwest, like so, and it stands within a stone circle. Now, in the 60s, it was excavated by Michael O'Kelly, and he realised that there was a solstitial alignment here, found in the myths as well. The myths hinted at this before it was rediscovered by archaeology, but it hadn't been experienced because what you're seeing here is a reconstruction of the tomb, and the entrance to the tomb had actually collapsed. So the astronomical alignment hadn't been seen since probably the Bronze Age. So this is above the doorway. You've got the main doorway here, and above it is a so-called light box, which had quartz crystals along it, a kind of window frame. Now, as you can see from this plan here, you've got a cruciform chamber, and then this long passage, and then the light box is on the entrance here. And it was discovered that on the morning of the winter solstice, again, midwinter solstice, not the summer, hinting again at this at midwinter preoccupation in the Neolithic world, a beam of light, as the sun crested the horizon, it shone through the light box and then travelled up the chamber. They've actually reconstructed this with lights, so when you visit the site, you can experience this on a tour, and it's quite well done. It's not as cheesy as it sounds. But this is a view from inside the chamber. The midwinter sunrise shines through this light box, and you get this creep of beam of light up the chamber towards the back stones of the passage, where they hit this triple spiral, which probably has some kind of symbolic solar meaning, which we haven't quite uncovered. Now, this is a image from Stellarium, the software program. Unfortunately, the sort of default landscape that they've got there has these trees in the way, but you can change the landscapes. But anyway, this is the position of the rising sun on the morning of the solstice, and the entrance is kind of like so. So you will see the sun as it reaches above the horizon on the 21st of December. Now, what's of interest here is not only is it a midwinter alignment, but there's another coincidental alignment. Whether it's coincidental or not, I'll argue in future lectures that it's not, is that the brightest star in the sky, which is Sirius, also rises at the exact point, at this point in history, due to precession, doesn't rise at the point now. About 3000 BC, Sirius rises at the exact point as the midwinter sun, so that would have been seen as important. Now, we know that there was a connection with the star. You could say, oh, it's just a coincidence, a few stars are going to go past that entrance at that time in history. But the fact that there's a hill over here, again, this isn't the right horizon, This is just a generic image, but there's a hill here over which the star sets, and it's called Real Toga, which means the hill of the star. So that suggests that there was knowledge that this was the setting point of that important star, because after about 2200 BC, the stars are shifting in the sky due to precession, and that alignment is lost. So it only works for a few hundred years, and then by which time actually the tomb has been abandoned. So it's almost as if these tombs have got a shelf life. As soon as the stars, if they're aligned on the stars, if the stars then shift out of position, you either have to redesign the monument or you abandon it. And there's a suggestion of this redesigning at Stonehenge, as we'll go on to say. Now, the next site which I'm going to mention is Callanish in the Outer Hebrides. Now, this is quite a dramatic site. Again, you've got a smallish stone circle, but then you've got a number of other alignments, most notably this kind of direction. And I'll give you an idea of what these are like in a second. But there was a record by a Greek historian called Diodorus Siculus, who was writing, I think, 1st century AD. He talks about a temple in Britain, which a lot of people think refers to Stonehenge, but it makes more sense, as we'll see, if he was actually referring to Callanish. He talks about an island situated north and inhabited by the Hyperboreans. This is a mythological race of beings who were ruled over by Apollo. Their name means beyond the north wind. And he says, there is also on the island both a magnificent sacred precinct of Apollo and a notable temple which is adorned with many votive offerings and spherical in shape. This may be a kind of misunderstanding. Spherical, actually, perhaps what he means is circular rather than a full spherical temple. This is the interesting bit here. They say that the moon, as viewed from the island, appears to be but a little distance from the earth, and to have upon it prominences like those of the earth, which are visible to the eye. The account is also given that the god visits the island every 19 years, the period in which the return of the stars to the same place in the heavens is accomplished. And what he's talking about here is the Metonic cycle. This is the 19-year cycle of the moon. So what it's seeming to hint at is that somewhere in this Metonic cycle is a period when the moon appears to be a short distance from the earth. Now, again, he's perhaps getting the wrong end of the stick and thinking it means that the moon is closer, as in closer to the earth. But what is perhaps to be understood by this is that the moon is close to the horizon. And this is how people have analysed the alignments that Callanish have argued. So Callanish is situated on the edge of this kind of promontory, overlooking the waters around the island and pointing towards sort of upland areas which are up here. Now that's the important bit we've got to look at. And here are the stones themselves, very kind of anthropomorphic. They're quite dramatic. To give you an idea of size, I think a person would be kind of about that big. So these are, they're quite kind of spooky. And it's almost like a gathering of people. Remember, in the last lecture, we talked about the stones as petrified dancers or sinners that were dancing on a Sunday, that kind of thing. There's an idea that these are personifications of maybe deities or what have you, or spirits. And there again is the from the air. But this is what we're interested in. The alignment of these kind of avenues towards the northern horizon. And what you find is that Callanish is framed by this range of hills in the background, and these act as a kind of It's almost as if they're stage sets against which the drama of the night is going to unfold. And this is something that happens only once every 19 years. Now, the hills, as seen from Callanish, seem to take on the form of a sleeping woman. You can see her face here with her nose, her forehead, and then you've got her knees, you've got her belly, and then breasts there, and pillows as well. And there you can see it in a photo. So it's quite a marked sort of resemblance to a supine woman. And there's hints in the mythology that the landscape itself is seen as the body of a goddess. So it's Mother Earth, as it were. Now, once every 19 years, the moon reaches what is called a lunar standstill. This is when it sets closest to the Earth. And what you can see on this particular night is that from the body of this supine goddess, the moon rises from her body, kind of rolls along until it gets to the horizon, then disappears behind the stones, only to then appear within the stones. Quite a dramatic moment. So here's the moon rising from the belly of the goddess. Here is sort of above the breasts and the face. And then, as I said, it rolls the horizon and then reappears within the stones. Now, this must have been a dramatic sight. If you're situated to the south of the stones, the moon has risen out of the goddess, has disappeared, and then suddenly it's there. It's on Earth. The god, once every 19 years, appears amongst men in close proximity to the Earth. This really seems to be what Diodorus Siculus is saying. What we're seeing here is an astronomical event that becomes folklore. This is kind of, it gives you an idea of the myth-making potential of events in the heavens and how these astronomical events were manipulated by the design of the site to produce a kind of drama, a kind of narrative. And in this narrative, we're seeing the return of the god every 19 years amongst men on Earth. And if you were, as I said, if you're situated to the south of the site, someone could stand in the circle and be by the moon. Someone perhaps representing this divinity. And what it suggests is that the astronomical alignments aren't to do with calendars. It's not to do with astronomy as we see it today. It's not a scientific attempt to kind of delineate time. It's part of a ritual process, a ritual drama, and it's kind of ancient cinema. It's showing something dramatic, something that's going to have a psychological effect on those witnessing it. Again, return to Diodorus Siculus, and it kind of fits into what he says. The spherical temple to Apollo, and the moon, as viewed from the island, appears to be a little distance from the Earth, and then the god visits the island every 19 years.